Hi,
Oh, hello. How are you?
how are you?
Good. I'm great. I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me.
Sure.
Well, good. So, Debbie, tell me a little bit. We talked a little bit before this, and you told me that you own sweet shops, candy shops.
Yes,
That's
I own two
amazing.
of them.
Two of them. So, what are they
Yeah,
called?
it's called Salt City Sweet Shop.
Salt City Sweet Shop. Where is that located? Because I feel like I've been there before.
The original one's in Harriman, and the second one's in Southtown Mall.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. So, how did you get started in the candy business?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
That's all
Uh,
right.
so I worked in the corporate world for about 20 years
Okay.
for a company called PageNet. Do you
Okay.
remember pagers? You're kind of
Pa-
young.
Pagers? No, you'll have to.
Beepers.
Oh, yes, yes, pagers, of course. I actually do
Before
remember those.
Yeah, before cell phones,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody had a PageNet pager,
Okay.
and I was a sales manager at PageNet, and
Oh,
I worked there
wow.
forever. Yeah, and the company eventually got bought out. Cellular was taking over, so pagers were kind of going away.
Yeah.
And so I got a severance package and decided that I didn't want to go to work for somebody else again, and so I decided to open my own business.
Wow.
Yeah. And at the time, I lived in a town that didn't have any coffee houses, not a single Starbucks, not nothing.
No
And
kidding.
so,
Holy cow.
yeah.
Wow.
I know,
I feel
that's
like that.
unheard of now.
Yeah, I feel like that's crazy because everywhere,
Yeah,
you have some kind of drink shop, right? If it's not Starbucks, it's something else,
exactly.
right?
Well, and this
Yeah.
was in California.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and
Oh, yeah,
yeah, and it
California in
wasn't,
a town that didn't have a
and it
coffee
wasn't
shop.
a super small town. I don't know. I don't know. They just didn't have anything like that. So,
Oh, nuts.
I decided I was going to open a coffee house with my money and start doing research and trying to find a location, see how much equipment was and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And it was pretty expensive, the equipment to open, with espresso machines and all that.
Mm,
It was very cost prohibitive. But
okay.
during this whole search, I came across a candy store that was selling these barrels, these big barrels. They were selling the whole store, but one of their displays was barrels full of candy.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I thought, oh, these barrels would be great for the coffee house. We'll put coffee beans in them, and people can scoop their coffee beans.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so
That's
I bought out the candy store. She wouldn't sell me just the barrels, so I had to buy.
Oh,
Yeah, so I had to buy everything. The counters and all the acrylic displays and all
wow.
that stuff.
Holy
So I
cow.
bought out the whole candy store, put everything in storage, and just kept looking for a location for my coffee house.
Oh.
Yeah.
While you
And
had all
then,
this stuff for a candy store.
yeah.
That's
And so
awesome.
one day I woke up and I thought, why am I opening a coffee house when I have all this stuff for a candy store? Yeah.
Oh,
So I opened a candy store.
that's so
So
sweet.
yeah, I didn't know anything about candy. I hadn't been in retail since I was a teenager.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So
So,
it was,
so yeah, I mean, I bet going from like sales management into
yeah,
retail or, like
yeah.
business to business, because I'm assuming pagers were more of a business to business thing.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
I only dealt with
there you go.
businesses. I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of
and
people had them too, but my
right,
customers were all businesses.
right, yeah. Well, and going from business to business to consumer, like we're in
Yeah,
just straight retail is
yeah,
because I made the switch from retail consumer sales to business sales, and that was a huge switch. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's night and day difference as far as
yeah,
like sales, like lengths and stuff like that. And
exactly.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
How did you deal with like the transition? And you didn't know anything about like nothing about the
Didn't know
candy
anything.
business.
Yeah. All my knowledge of candy came from growing up in San Diego. We had Farrell's. I don't know if you've ever heard of Farrell's, but it
I've
was
heard of
this.
Farrell's. Yeah, my
Okay,
my
so
mom's talked about them. She visited
okay.
California frequently.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had Farrell's everywhere. They had them. It was like a cool ice cream parlor, but as you left, they had like this cool candy shop.
That's
So that's where I
awesome.
learned about, my favorite things were like jawbreakers and candy buttons and candy cigarettes and, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where my knowledge of candy came, that and Willy Wonka. So
Willy Wonka. That's not a
yeah,
bad. That's not a bad place to learn about candy.
yeah.
That's sweet. So, that's nuts. So now you have these two candy shops. How long have you been in business?
Here in Utah, I've been in business for about 2.5 years, but I had my
Okay.
store in California for 20 years.
Oh, wow. So you've been in the
Yeah.
candy business for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice. And is the one in California still operating?
It is. When we
Oh,
decided
wow.
to move here, I sold it. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's still there and super popular. It's in the Old Town Temecula area, so
Oh,
very
yeah. Okay.
very touristy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good place for a candy shop.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great place for.
They do pretty
So
well.
candy shop. How do you pick your inventory? How do you pick what sells, and how do you
So,
do a lot of
um,
research?
I mean, like I said, my research was Farrell's and Willy
Yeah.
Wonka.
Right.
So I started out with everything that I thought was cool,
There
so
you go.
candy necklaces and jawbreakers and, Zots and anything,
Yeah.
anything like old school, is what I wanted to focus on. We have a
Okay.
lot of retail or a lot of retro candy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's great.
yeah. And then I've always been really fond of Jelly Belly products, so we carry a ton of Jelly Belly, like all different, separated flavors,
Mm,
because people really, like their individual flavors.
yeah.
Um, so that's how we started, and then we started to add things. We bought out some chocolate machinery and started making our own fudge, and
Mm.
now we make our own gourmet apples, and we do like chocolate covered bacon, um, and
Whoa.
then we just kind of recently added bottled the old fashioned bottled sodas,
Oh yeah. I
so we
bet that's
carry
really
all that.
popular.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet that's really popular. What's your most popular candy?
Well, the most popular thing we sell is gourmet apples. The apples sell like crazy,
Oh, I bet
and
they
then
do.
the fudge. But as
Fudge,
far as
yeah.
like the retro candies, I would say like Razzles are
Oh
super
yeah.
popular. Um,
Yeah.
Gosh, what's another one? Well, the kids all love the candy cigarettes, so
Yes, they
it's
do.
not PC.
That's all
we
right.
always
Hey,
we always sell them with a warning. It's okay
yeah.
to sell the candy ones, just not the real
Yeah,
ones.
just not the real
Yeah,
ones. That's nuts. That's great though.
yeah.
I think having a candy store, that's like the ultimate dream, you know?
It's fun.
And two of them.
Yeah, it's a super fun business, and the customers are usually happy. I mean, who comes into a candy store grumpy?
Yeah, I would
Most
imagine
people. Yeah,
no
it's
one.
it's
That's
very
awesome.
rare that we get a customer that isn't happy just because they're in there.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. When you're in retail, it's inevitable. You always have
Yeah.
customer service is inevitable. You're gonna have grumpy people because they're
Oh
just
yeah.
grumpy in general,
Yeah.
even in a candy store, which
Oh
blows
yeah.
my mind, by the way. That's nuts.
And they're
So,
the ones that always take it to social media. So
oh yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah. It's nuts. I feel like I only leave good reviews because like everybody has a bad day. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
of course.
Everybody's got
Of
a bad
course.
day. We're human. You have a bad day. You
Yeah.
walk into a shop and it was like the other day I went into a place and they were just slammed. Saturday was slammed. They got
Yeah.
my order wrong. And I just told them, I was like, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Because everybody was slammed. I mean, it was slammed. It was a
Yeah.
madhouse in there.
Yeah.
And they were really good about it. And I was really good about it. And I was out of there in like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
But
think employees appreciate that kind of an attitude because,
yeah.
sometimes they just can't help it. Mistakes get made, and
Yeah. And it's like,
you can't take it out on the person that's trying to help you.
oh, seriously. And normally, I feel like candy shops, younger demographic work with you.
Pretty
The
much.
little younger
Pretty
crowd.
much, yeah. I usually end up with like the 18 to 23, 24-year olds,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll get somebody a little older. I wish I could. In California, I had several employees that were much older,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it was
nice.
great. It
Yeah,
was
that
great. They
is
didn't
great.
have any conflicts. They worked because they wanted to work. So for them, it
Yeah.
was fun, and a way to get out of the house. And
Oh yeah,
that's like
those
the
are,
ideal employee.
yes, those are great. Those are, everybody loves those
Yeah,
employees.
yeah.
Those are so fun. So, gourmet apples, what do you do? Because I feel like as soon as you said that, I was like, yes, that
Okay, so
it, it's amazing. Those are
yeah.
nuts. So what
So
do you do with
it's a
like
big
gourmet?
Granny Smith apple that we
Okay.
dip in caramel, and the caramel we make in-house. And
No
I think
kidding.
we're like the last ones that do that. I don't know if anybody else does it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I know Rocky Mountain was still doing it up until a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
that
Why do you think they stopped making it in house? I feel
it's
like
very
it's
labor intensive.
okay.
It's much easier to just melt down blocks of caramel than it is to actually make it from
Sure.
cream and sugar, because you have to stir it for like an hour nonstop. And
Oh yeah.
you have to get it just right. If it's not just right, then
Yeah.
it ruins everything. So
Oh my
it's
goodness.
it's a lot of work, but it smells great and it tastes delicious. And
I bet.
so
Yeah, I bet that
we
smell
dip
of
them in.
homemade caramel.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And then we dip them in chocolate. We have milk, white, and dark chocolate. So we'll
Mm,
dip them in one of those. And then toppings, everything from like English toffee to apple pie
wow.
to key lime, strawberry cheesecake. Like, we do like, I don't know, maybe 15 different kinds of
Yeah.
apples.
And do
Yeah.
you like? I mean, you sell them in bulk, but do you like? Do you ever cater to different like
We don't really
parties or?
cater. We do like I live in Harriman. So
Yeah.
in Harriman, we have an arts council, and they put on
Oh,
shows every year. So
yeah.
we will go set up a table at the Harriman Arts Council and sell like fudge and apples and some
Yeah.
retro candy and stuff there.
Yeah.
But it's such a hard business to transport. Like you can, especially in the summer because it gets so hot,
Oh, sure.
and
Yeah.
you don't want the caramel sliding off the apples, and the fudge doesn't really melt, but it gets really soft and sticky. And
Oh, yeah. It does. Oh,
so
jeez.
yeah,
Ugh.
we have to really be kind of picky
Yeah.
about what we do outside of the
Yeah.
stores.
There you go.
Plus the
So,
manpower.
oh yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. I guess that's a good call. I just like I'm in this kind of craze where like I feel anything can go on the road now.
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but it'd probably
I
be
know.
really expensive to go on the road with like
Well, and
ice
we've
cream.
talked about like doing a food truck, because
Yeah. Oh,
food trucks are amazing and they're super
yeah.
popular. And
Yeah.
so we actually have we have a candy van that has all like
No
you know
kidding.
has stuff all over it. So, but it's not equipped, like it's not,
Sure.
you can't keep it air cold,
Right.
air conditioned all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Turn
Yeah.
it off. Like you really kind of have to do a refrigerated truck for
Oh
that sort
yes.
of thing.
Right.
So it's cool. I think it'd be fun. Everybody's
Yeah.
doing it. So
Yeah.
maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe one day you get that itch. You get that itch
Yeah,
and just go for it. But
yeah.
I think it's. How did you pick where you were going to put the candy stores? Could you
S-
pick, or was it a?
well, originally we picked Harriman because we knew we were going to live here. When we moved from California, we were
Sure.
buying a house in Harriman,
Yeah.
and it was new out here, and so there was like a new retail center going in,
Oh.
that was supposed to be like a real like hangout kind of retail center with
Oh yeah.
like a little park environment and all
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Kind of like
so
new urbanism kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So we
Everybody
picked
goes
that
there.
because we thought, oh, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. But here we are 3 years later, and that's not going to happen. So now we're
Sure.
in this we're in this little fourplex where the building's backwards to the road, and it,
Oh
it
man.
doesn't really make sense to people because they don't understand what the plan was supposed to be.
Sure. Yeah.
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 So
No kidding.
we do a lot of social media, and
Oh.
try to drum up a lot of attention for the store,
Yeah.
because people just don't even notice it. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. We're right next door to Sodalicious,
Oh no.
which is super popular,
Yeah. Yeah.
but for some reason they don't even see us there. Like they'll drive right by us and
Oh no.
in line for their sodas.
Yeah,
So
no kid. Yeah, geez. Well, that's always tough. Like that's the gamble with real estate, right?
yeah, Yeah,
Is you're
exactly.
like, it could go this way or it could go real or
Yeah.
the other
Well,
way.
I mean, I do believe location's everything, but
Yeah,
if you pick a location based on what's supposed to happen and that changes, because the
yeah.
building wasn't even built when we moved it, when we signed the
Oh,
lease.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
it was brand new. They hadn't even broken ground yet.
Oh, wow.
So we
So
were
you're
really
just,
trusting the
yeah,
process.
yeah, the city of Harriman to
Yeah.
to finish the job. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
and then Southtown, they actually they recruited us.
no kidding. Tell us how
Yeah.
did they recruit you? That sounds like a sweet
Well,
story.
somebody else did it. So it actually started with Trolley Station. Somebody
Okay.
from Trolley Station had come into our store and said, hey, do you want to open up in Trolley Station? And
Oh,
we didn't
wow.
know very much about it, and so
Yeah.
we were like, sure, we'll give it a try. They made us a really good deal, and just wanted us to try it out. We didn't sign a lease or anything, but
Yeah.
we unfortunately learned pretty quickly that there aren't really very many customers at Trolley Station, which is sad
Yeah.
because it's a
It
cool
is
center,
right there in South Salt Lake, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that, yeah, I've been there. And
And
you know
and
what? It is kind of like that. Trolley Square is kind of like that one little place that no one knows about. There's a
yeah,
ton of little knickknack shops in there that you'd
yeah.
never know were in there. Like the one of the ones that's in there. There's two. There's like a men's kind of haberdashery one in there that sells some really
Yeah,
cool stuff. And then there's the kids pottery barn
yeah.
that I didn't
And
even. I was like,
and there's a
whoa,
Whole Foods, and there's like a
yeah,
Brazilian steakhouse, and it's just
yeah.
it's a cool center. They have
It
the
is a cool.
trolley sitting out front and that
Yeah,
sort of thing. So we gave it a try for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months, and
yeah,
there just weren't any customers.
yeah.
So
Not a lot of
we
walking. Not a lot of
couldn't
floor
make it
traffic.
work. And so while
Yeah.
we were there, though, somebody from Southtown came into our store there and said, hey, why don't you try Southtown? And
Ooh.
so we said, okay.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. So did
yeah.
they like did they just like stumble upon it? They're like, this guy who works at Southtown just like, I want some candy. I'm gonna go into this candy store and oh, I like it. By
No,
the way, do you want to come?
I think and this is something I never really understood about malls, but when
Yeah.
they have empty spaces, they actually are willing to lease them out for shorter terms, and
Oh.
it's more like a specialty lease, so you don't have to get locked into like a 5-year term. Um,
Oh.
so the people that handle that kind of leasing, they'll decide what they think would be good in an open space, and they'll actually go
Oh.
out looking for that kind of a business.
Wow.
So the store that we replaced in Southtown was actually a candy store, candy and soda store.
There you
And so
go.
when they were leaving, the person decided, well, let's get another one in here. So that's
Yeah.
they kept
So
looking for us.
yeah, so in my train of thought, I'm thinking like, okay, did that candy store leave just because it like that other candy store wasn't successful? Or did
They
the
were
lease
pretty
just come up and they're
successful.
like,
They were pretty successful for a while. They had
okay,
I think 8 or 9 locations,
yeah, okay.
and they just started slowly closing them. I don't know if the person just
Like got
was
out of the
getting
candy
out of
business.
business, or just didn't want. Maybe they were retiring, and just as
Yeah,
their leases came up, they were
yeah.
just closing the stores. And Southtown was actually their last open store.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it was kind of like they're just like they were like done. They're like, we're out of the candy business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you get out of the candy business, man. I feel
I
like
don't
I'd
know.
suck you in.
I'm setting my daughters up to rope them into it. So when
There
I
you
decide to
go.
retire, I can just say, here you go.
There's your candy store. Go ahead. Yeah, that
Exactly.
wouldn't be a bad gig to walk into. Like, you got a candy store that has a social media following that's
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
You can just walk in and then tweak it and do your own thing. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my train of thought was like, hey, if that store in the mall wasn't successful, why put another one in there? But that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You just that
Well, and it
wasn't
was
successful.
right, right. I
Yeah.
mean, the trolley one was just kind of our trial of, let's see how this
Sure.
goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
with Southtown, before we went in, we actually went and like hung out there and watched how many people came and went. And
Yeah. And how many?
we didn't do it
Yeah.
blindly like we did with trolley. So
Well, I feel like
we're slow, but we do learn.
yeah, and I feel like you got to try too. Like,
Yeah.
you got to be like, okay, because Trolley Square, like, if you didn't know, you know what I mean? It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You'd
Well,
be
and
like,
I hadn't
all of
been
that
there.
is right there in South Salt Lake. Like, heck yeah,
Yeah.
I'm there, man.
Well,
Yeah,
and then, there's a spaghetti factory there. So what could be
yeah,
better than that,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. There's a whole Whole Foods. There's a bank there. I mean, it's like a
I
whole kind of.
know.
There's apartments all around there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
literally right in the middle of this. It's kind of like I don't know the history behind Trolley Square, but it's almost like South Salt Lake kind of came together and they were like, we're going to put all these, apartment buildings and, multifamily apartments and things like that,
Yeah.
housing around
Yeah.
there. And then we're going to put right in the middle, we're going to put this hub that you can
Right.
go get anything. And I
Right.
don't know if it just didn't work or like they didn't market it right, but yeah, you're
Well,
right. Like,
yeah, I think it worked for
weird.
a while. They had an incident there years ago. So I
Jeez.
think that hurt them, obviously. And
Sure.
then,
Because it's got lights and like a bridge that crosses the road, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, well,
What the
then I
heck?
think, Gateway opened, and
Gateway.
what's the
Yep.
other one? There's another one that's not
There's a
too
City
far away
Creek is
from.
right down there. City
Yeah,
Creek's right
City
down there.
Creek. So I think
Gateway's right down there. Yeah.
they just got kind of hurt by all the new stuff, and
The competition.
then people
How
sort
old
of
is
forgot
how
about them.
long has Trolley Square been there?
Um,
Longer
The
than the Gateway and
center
City Creek?
itself, I'm not sure how long the mall has been there, but
Okay.
the trolley has been there since, like, it started out as a trolley station,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
been there
yeah.
for years and years. And they do a thing where you can go and sit and see like a video of the whole trolley,
No
how that all
kidding.
came about. So
That's
it's cool.
sweet.
It's a cool little a cool little center. I hope someday
Yeah.
they are able to revitalize it.
Yeah, like turn it around and make it what it was supposed to
Yeah,
be. Yeah.
yeah.
Holy cow. Well, that's really cool. So I didn't know that though about malls, that they'll go out and recruit those businesses
Yeah,
there. Like,
yeah.
and the guy just walked in and just walked up to you and say, "Hey, where's the owner? I want you in." So
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Or in my case, because I'm not usually in the stores, I have an office in my house and I work out
Oh,
of
there
my
you go.
office.
Yeah.
But they just left a card and said, if you're interested in looking at our center, give us a call.
There you
So
go.
we did. Yeah.
And it's been good there.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that'd be a Southtown Mall's a great place.
Yep.
Yeah. Get a lot of
And
foot traffic.
we'd love to go to we'd love to expand south, like Lehigh.
Oh, that'd be a great place.
Yeah.
Like Vineyard
Vineyard.
area.
I don't know where that is.
So that's right.
I'm still new.
Oh, okay. So Vineyard is one of the new places right. It's kind of right in Orem, the Orem area, but it's
Okay.
booming. Lehigh,
Is it
Orem, Vineyard.
Is it is it like up in the hills a little, or?
It's, you know what? I don't know.
I'll have to go check it out.
You got to go check it out because it's booming.
Yeah.
Like, we've been down
Yeah.
there a few times, and I've been down there a few times for some conferences and things like that. And it's like it's growing. And like,
Yeah.
but like what I would think of correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm thinking when I hear candy store, I'm thinking a demographic of like younger families, right? Kids, younger families with kids.
Our customers have never we have kids, of course, that are our customers.
Yeah. Okay.
But we really target adults because
Okay.
Adults are the ones that come in. They buy the fudge and the apples, and
they can buy
kids will come in and they'll spend $1, which is great. We
Yeah.
appreciate that too. But
Yeah.
adults will come in and spend $50.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. That's
So
you gotta go for the people who can buy the candy. I'm with you. Hey, this is business. Nothing wrong with that.
We try and carry things that you can't get at like Walmart or a convenience store or something like that.
Good.
So
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
yeah.
That's
So, and a lot of kids, they'll take their money and go to 7-Eleven or one of those places and buy their candy because it's cheap and it's easy.
Cheap.
And
and they probably don't get asked a lot of questions when they go to 7-Eleven either.
Yeah.
But you know what I like? You know what though? The fudge is what gets me, because I grew up in a town, and right across the river they had a fudge factory, and it was called the Fudge Factory.
Okay.
And they made their fudge like right there in front of you, and like if they were making it,
That's what we do.
Yeah, that is such a fun thing. And
Yeah.
such a good way to like get in. So you told me like kind of the story, right? So you got into like the candy store trying to get into coffee, which I don't, by the way, I don't think you would have made a mistake going either way.
Yeah.
You'd end up going into the coffee thing either
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right? But how did you grow it? Like, you started out with this stuff and then you had to like grow it and like get into it. What did you do to like find new avenues of whether,
Well,
what your store was going to go, and like
yeah.
fudge and apples and things like that? Like, how did you come up with these ideas?
It was a real trial. When we first found our location in Old Town Temecula,
Yeah.
the landlord it was a brand new building, because one of the issues we had was we had to be health department approved, and
Oh,
all the buildings down there are so old that most of them would not pass the requirements for health
okay.
department or for ADA, that sort of thing.
Yeah, stuff
So
like that. Yeah.
there was a new building going up, and so okay, the new building's going to pass everything because it's brand new, so it'll be built to code for everything.
Yeah.
And the landlord was not willing to make the suites very small for us, so we ended up having to lease out half the building, which was about 2,700 square feet, which is really huge for
Yeah,
a
that's a
candy
big.
store.
Yeah, that's a
And
big deal. Yeah.
and so at first we kind of walled off like a 20 by 20 space and turned that into the candy store, and then we rented the rest of the suite. We like subleased the rest of the suite out to other people. so we
Oh.
had so we had people in there selling pottery and selling teddy bears and selling crafts, and like
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
divvied it up, and people just paid us a little bit of rent, and then people would come in through the candy store, and then they'd shop around our little mall in the back.
Yeah, a little bit of like cross promotion stuff. That's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Oh, that's a great
yeah,
idea.
yeah.
You're like, "Wait,
At the time, that sort of thing was pretty popular.
yeah,
So we,
yeah,
but then slowly but surely we were kind of outgrowing our space, because the more I learned, the more I wanted to carry. And
oh
so,
yeah,
yeah, the more I carried, the more space I needed. So
right.
as my vendors moved out, I just kind of took over their spaces, and eventually we took over the whole suite, and then
Sure.
eventually we took over the whole building. Basically, we opened up ice cream in the suite
Wow,
next door. Yeah. So
that's a good
it's,
idea.
I
Like, so
think,
just
about 4,000 square feet right now.
holy cow,
Yeah.
that's
It's big.
awesome. So you just
Yeah.
do everything out
Yeah.
of that Salt City Sweets,
Yeah. Well,
right?
that's here in Utah. In
That's here in
California,
Utah.
it's Old Town Sweet Shop. But yeah,
Old
here
Town
it's
Sweet Shop.
yeah.
Hey, Salt City Sweets is good though. I like that kind of marketing, right? You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta go for that. But
Yeah.
what drew you to fudge? Like, what made you pick fudge?
Um, well, there's trade shows. Everybody goes to trade shows,
Oh
and
yes,
and
yes,
there's trade shows designed for candy stores. There's
that's
one in
great.
Chicago. Yeah, there's one in Chicago every year called the All Candy Expo, and
Right
it's
on.
like I can't even, like, 100,000 square feet of different candy companies and
That's amazing.
stuff like that. So I was at one of these trade shows, and there was like a fudge kettle company there,
Uh-huh.
and so they were sampling the fudge and showing us how easy it is to make and all that stuff. And
Wow.
so I tried a sample of the chocolate peanut butter fudge and the chewy praline fudge, and
There you
I
go.
was like, yes, sign me up for the $10,000 kettle.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome. You're like, yeah, I gotta have that, even
Yeah,
if I just eat it myself. Hey, I'm with you though. I'll eat the
yeah.
fudge. I'll eat the fudge. That's so
So,
awesome. That's
but yeah,
great.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. How did you come up with now, how did you get into candy apples? How did you come up with candy apples?
Um, Let me think. Because we didn't do that at first in California, because there was the area we were in also had it had a chocolate store. And
Oh
so I
yeah.
was purposely trying not to do things that they did, because I didn't want to like step on my neighbor's toes. So
Sure.
I didn't do a lot of chocolate stuff, and they did apples, so I didn't do apples. But then they eventually
Okay.
closed. So when they closed, we started doing apples.
Yeah, so you're
So
like,
it
I'm
was
taking
just kind of
apples.
huh?
You're like, I'm taking the apples, I'm taking the
Yeah,
chocolate,
yeah,
like it's mine now.
that's
You're out
right.
on
Well,
in.
I bought all their equipment and stuff, so
Oh, that's great.
yeah. Then they were retiring, so it's not,
Yeah.
you know, it
Yeah.
wasn't like an acrimonious situation. They were just
Right.
a little older and they were ready to
Yeah.
close up.
Yeah. I'm out of the candy business. That's awesome. It sounds like sounds like you're in the candy business and you're in the candy
Yeah,
business forever.
well, oh my gosh. I don't know about that, but
Oh man.
I will retire
There you
someday.
go.
But
Yeah.
I'm hoping my girls will keep it going.
That'd be great. That's great. Well, that's yeah. I feel like that's like part of the part of the legacy that you can leave on, right, and stuff like
Uh,
that. That's
you,
awesome. So like,
you say that?
what?
My husband's coming in here. I'm sorry.
You're fine. No
Or the
worries.
person in the back.
Right, right. And then so you have these two candy stores. How much time does that like take up for you, and what do you got to do to keep those running? Like, what's the logistics behind that?
It is actually a lot of work. Like I said, I don't really work in the stores unless I
Yeah,
have to. I'll go in and do some merchandising, or if I have to go in and make fudge or something like that. But for the most part, I have employees that do all that stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So just I do all the paperwork, the books, the accounting, the orders, the inventory.
yeah,
So I do all the the behind the scenes stuff.
yeah. The
But
high
we have
level stuff.
over I think we have over 1,500 SKUs.
Oh
So
wow.
it's a lot to keep it up. And then I do all the social networking and, I try and do
Wow.
posts every day. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
you
that's,
kind of keep the
I'm
social
sorry.
media in house too, right? Then you keep the social media in
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Yeah. Holy cow.
We just,
That's nuts.
we're very grassroots
Yeah.
kind of.
That's not bad. That's not bad
Yeah.
at all.
And we're very
So,
we're like really, friendly with our customers. Like we know
yeah.
we know them, they know us.
Oh yeah, that's a
Especially
good.
in Harriman,
Yeah.
because in Harriman we get all the locals. In the mall we see a lot of different people, but in
Right.
Harriman we have the same customers and
That just go. That just go.
yeah,
The repeats.
yeah. And like we're closed on Sundays because only in Harriman the mall's open,
Yeah.
but in Harriman we're closed on Sundays because nobody here shops on Sundays.
Yeah.
But I have my
There-
phone number on the sign, so if anybody has a chocolate emergency, they can just call
Oh
me and I'll
no.
just
Have
yeah.
you ever have you ever had a chocolate emergency phone call?
I've never had a phone call, but I have had people post or message me through Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then they're
like
like, hey, they're like,
I'm going to a party tonight, and I really want to bring some apples. So,
they're like, I need it now.
so
That's
I'll run
freaking
over there and
sweet.
meet them, get them some apples.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
I bet that's customers for life though. I
I
bet
hope
once
so.
you do that once, man,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
I
would,
hope so.
like,
Yeah,
holy cow.
I mean, people are really cool. They're really,
Yeah.
people in Harriman have been super supportive and,
Mm, yeah.
really kept us like during the whole COVID thing,
Oh
we had to
yeah.
close. We had to close for like a month and a half. And so
No kidding.
before we closed, we were like, we need to get rid of all the fudge and the apples. And so people were just
Yeah.
driving up to the back door and buying stuff from us, just so we didn't have to
Wow.
throw a bunch of stuff away. And
Yeah. Holy
yeah,
cow. Well,
yeah,
that's good. Good support.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. It's kind of like I always get like I do some of these interviews and I kind of ask the same questions. And one of the questions I kept asking was like, "What? How's this COVID treating you?" And I was like, "Man, I'm tired of asking that question."
yeah, I know.
It's affected everybody.
Oh, it really, really has,
It's just nuts.
because people don't, I mean, I'm sure people, that couldn't pay their rent because they didn't have jobs. And then,
Yeah.
small businesses, so many of us had to close and yet we still had to pay all of our bills. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's been
Yeah.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
On everybody.
That's nuts. Did you feel like you were, I mean, it was so unexpected that, when I ask this question, I get an array of answers, but do you feel like you were prepared enough for COVID to happen?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you can be like, I mean, I
Right.
thought I was prepared in the sense that I have business insurance, and in my business insurance, I have
Right.
the if you have to close,
Oh yeah,
Um,
for like
I can't
any
remember
crazy
what
reason.
it's like catastrophe insurance or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
there's like a fire or a flood or something and you have to close your business, then
Right.
they'll cover your expenses. And well, they wouldn't cover COVID because they
No
said
kidding.
that, yeah, they said that
Holy
they
cow.
don't cover pandemics. And
What? How do you even
yeah,
put that in your? Did they really have that in their clause?
you know what? I don't know. My business attorney is going to look at it and see, because that seems kind of interesting that we
Yeah,
have a
really,
pandemic and that it doesn't cover a pandemic,
really.
but
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. How do you plan? How does an insurance company go? Ooh, write pandemic down.
yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
yeah, it
Like
doesn't
it's.
cover that. And then what was the riots? Like, um,
Oh,
we
geez.
didn't have to close. We didn't have to close, but I
Right.
said, well, what if we had to close because of the riots? Well, it doesn't cover that either. That's considered terrorism, so it doesn't cover terrorism.
How
So
do they come up with these
I
policies?
don't know.
That blows my mind.
I don't know. But it makes me think that, it's just, why do I even have this coverage? But
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sure
like,
the second I get rid of it, something will happen that I would
and
be covered for.
it
So
always, yep,
yeah,
it always happens. It's
yeah,
just, yep, what can't go wrong will go wrong. That's
exactly.
crazy. Holy
Yeah,
cow. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's kind of one of the reasons I started doing like talking to small business owners just to like get their, get their stories and like get their feedback out there. Cause, we post on Facebook and we post on Instagram and maybe we get a little blurb in the news here or there. But, I like sitting down with small business owners and getting like the real story. You know
hmm,
what I mean? Getting
yeah,
like the
yeah,
real feel, right? Because COVID was
exactly.
scary.
It wasn't. It still is. I still
Yeah.
wonder, are they going to shut us down again?
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
we're going
Who
back,
knows?
we're going backwards almost.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh, dude,
Yeah,
that's
and
so,
it's just,
it's so
the
hard.
rules, all the rules, the masks and the staying so many feet away from people, and you can only have so many people in the same room. And,
Oh man.
as a small business, it's hard to maintain that.
Well,
So
yeah, of course it's hard to maintain. It's the definition of a small business.
yeah, exactly,
Come on,
exactly.
man. That's nuts.
Sorry, can you move down to the Tootsie Rolls? You're a little too
Yeah,
close.
yeah, yeah. Seriously, dude, it's so hard, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But but then you know what else I love? Here's what else I love. I love talking to business owners like you, that just like because that's what you have to do when you own a business. You just kind of
Yeah,
got to smile and you got to go. And
yeah,
this hasn't ever happened before, but we're gonna figure it out because when we started this business, we figured other things out.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's true. It's
We
true.
figured this out. We can figure the next thing out and we'll make it through. And we're not going to get, we're not going to leave unscathed. We're going to get
Yeah,
bumps and bruises, but hey, if you love it enough, you're going to make it.
yeah,
Jeez,
that's true.
man. And that's the kind of passion that, that gets you through, and that I see with you and like so many other amazing business owners here, that like, in the community, right? Like the
Yeah.
passion and the love, like for the people other than you. Do you think that's been like a good a big driver for you? Is like when do you feel like your business really got successful? When did you feel like the candy really got successful?
Well, I don't know that we're successful yet, not in Utah, but we're still, we're still so new. We're only 2.5 years old here. So,
Okay,
I don't think we're financially successful, I should say, but I
sure.
do think that, people, especially in Harriman, are really fond of the business and they love the
Mm,
employees, and,
yeah,
they don't talk bad about us on social media, which is nice.
that's
So,
always a great thing.
yeah,
That's always a great thing.
yeah. So I think, I'm hoping we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're still new, and,
Mm,
it may take a couple more stores to actually get to that financial place.
nice. So that's your
California
goal.
took a while. It
Yeah.
took me about 10 years to start getting a paycheck. So
Oh, there you go. Hey, that's for all the small business owners out here, or like
yeah,
future business owners. Is like
yeah.
you got to put in the work.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't get, is that, I mean, there's nothing like working for yourself,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It feels good.
Yeah.
the freedom, the control you have, it's all great. The only
Yeah.
thing that isn't great is that you don't usually get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and you work a lot of hours.
Yeah, you work a
So,
lot of hours, and yeah, it doesn't pay off right away.
yeah.
So, but
So you
that's
just
where
have to
like
go in
the
prepared.
yeah, yeah, and that's where like the passion comes in. That's why you gotta love what you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
When did you
Exactly.
when did you fall in love with candy? Like if you're still on the road to success, you fell in love with the candy idea, you fell in love with the business idea. Like when did that happen?
Well, I think that happened the first time I ever saw Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yes.
That was my favorite movie. It's still one of my favorite movies. The original, and I also love the Johnny Depp version,
Oh,
although
who
many
doesn't
people.
love Johnny Depp though? That guy can do anything.
But I've probably seen the movie like 20 times or something, and
That's amazing.
it's just so magical, and
Yeah.
just such a feel, just all the colors and the sweets and
Yeah.
the.
Do you put your candy shop like that?
What do you mean?
Like all the colors and like the
We
layouts and stuff like
try. We try and
yeah.
make it colorful, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's a fun business, and people are happy, and I mean, who doesn't love candy? It's you can't eat a lot. You can't eat it all the time,
Right,
but
right. Yeah,
it's
no,
a
that I
nice
love it
treat.
though, because
Yeah,
I'm in sales. I've been in sales for a really long time, and
yeah,
that's what they say, right? They're like, if you want to sell something easy, go sell candy or ice cream.
yeah.
And I'm like, all right, and after talking to you, Debbie, I might go sell candy or ice cream, because that
You
would
could
be
just
awesome.
add ice cream too, by the way.
Did
In
you?
Harriman,
Did you?
yeah, we're selling Leatherby's ice cream.
Oh, that's good though.
Yeah, because
That's
people love
good.
Leatherby's, so
Yeah, so why not
we
put
don't
another
have
one
it
in?
out here, huh?
Yeah, that's true. They don't have it out here. And you know what? That's so funny because you said Leatherby's and I was like, yes, because I'm from the Midwest
Uh-huh.
and Leatherby's is good. But
Yeah.
now that you mentioned that, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I've seen that a
You
whole
haven't
lot
seen
around here.
Leatherby's?
Not a whole lot out here, but maybe it's
I
only because I shop in like grocery stores or something.
maybe. Well, they have actual restaurants here.
Oh, do
They
they
have
really?
yeah, they have one in Draper and one in, I think it's West Jordan,
There you go.
and then we have it in our store. So
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
You got the trifecta. You got
yeah,
apples, fudge, and ice cream. You cannot
yep,
go wrong.
exactly, exactly.
If one goes wrong, the other will pick it up.
Well, and
Holy cow.
Utahns love their sodas, so the
Oh
soda's a
yeah,
big
they
thing
do.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Holy cow. Are you in the drink game?
We're in the drink game, but only in the bottled sodas because
The
we have
bottles,
soda
yeah.
we have Sodalicious next door, so
Yeah, yeah,
we don't
yeah.
we try not never to like encroach on our neighbors, and
Yeah.
we even asked them if it was okay before we did the bottled sodas, just because
Oh yeah, you
we
want to keep it
we
cool.
want to be good neighbors.
Yeah. Well, and like, hey, go get some ice cream or hey, go get some like get our soda and go get some candy, get our candy, go
Yeah,
get some soda kind of thing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
exactly.
You know, you mentioned that a couple times. Do you feel like that kind of cross promotional advertising has helped you guys out?
Well, again, like in Harriman, people don't see us. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain, but our building is kind of it's right on the main. It's right on
Yeah.
134, which is a main road through Harriman,
Hmm.
but it was built to be part of a center, so it was built backwards
Oh,
because
okay.
the front side would be facing the center of the center.
Yeah,
If
and
that
then they never put the center in.
So now that the center isn't happening, people just think like, why did you guys build this building backwards? So it's just kind of obscure. And
Oh no.
people just don't see us. I mean, we've been here for two and a
Yeah.
half years, and people will still say, "Where are you?" Oh, I've
Yeah,
never
I've
been
lived in
here.
Harriman
You know?
forever and I've never
And
you're
yeah,
like,
I
man.
go to So Delicious every day. I never knew you
Right.
were right next door.
Oh
you know,
geez.
so,
Oh jeez.
so that's
But
that's a
yeah.
battle, but
But you
but
know what? Here's what
we're
I like
working it.
about that story. Is I like the fact that I always have the motto of what goes around comes around.
Yeah,
And that if you put good vibes out there, you get good vibes back.
I hope
And if
so.
yeah, and you know what I mean? And if, when you do the right thing, right things happen.
Yeah,
And that might
yeah,
that's about as crazy as I'll get on this podcast. But
yeah.
that
Some people
I
call that karma.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
The way you live your life are the
yeah,
results that happen in your life. You know what I mean? Well,
yeah.
I like that though. I hope people listen to that and they get that idea that like, that kind of stuff works. So,
Yeah.
well, all right, before we end, let me ask you one more thing. Like if you
Okay.
were giving, for your daughters or for somebody out there who wants to start a business or something, like what advice do you give them? Like, what do you tell people when they're like, how did you get into business, or like, why, like, what's the thing you tell them to like do?
I mean, the biggest thing I would say, because I did it so wrong, I just
Yeah,
is,
no, it works.
because
Yeah,
I just stumbled upon a candy store. So now I'll open a candy store. I would just say, do your research,
yeah,
know what you're doing,
yeah,
know the location you're going into,
yeah,
just really do as much due diligence as possible beforehand.
yeah,
Because, not that it worked for me eventually, but
yeah,
it probably would have worked a lot faster if I would
yeah.
have been more prepared.
Yeah, I like that. You know what? That's it. It's very important. I think doing your research. I think making sure you have the right team ready to
Yeah,
go and like is great. And then I like what because most business owners do what you did, and they just go like they just like,
yeah,
hey, I just got to go. Like I'll figure
yeah,
it out. I want to do this. I want to work for myself.
right.
Um, because there's a point when you can do the research and you just got to jump.
Yep.
So do the
Yeah.
research and jump.
And then jump. Yeah,
And then
exactly.
jump. I like it. I'm all down for that because yes, it can. There are for as many success stories like yours where you jumped and you figured it out and you made it work because of the
Yeah,
tenacity and that grit that I love.
yeah,
There's a million other ones of people who jumped and then like never made
right, right.
it. So it's great advice. Like yes, get a good team, you know, do your research, know the market, know what you want to do, and then go. So,
Yeah, exactly.
man, that's great. Well, hey, thank you so much, Debbie, for being here,
Oh, you're welcome.
and
Thank you.
this was really fun,
Yeah, it
really
was.
fun.
Thanks for
So,
having me.
yeah, absolutely. Well, you take care.
Okay, you too.